This is a review of how you choose a building system, or more appropriately, how to determine what materials are needed in your building. When you go to construct a building and you don't quite know where it fits in the codes, you follow these kind of guidelines. First thing you have to overcome is, where is this building going to be built? And that has that has to do with zoning ordinances. Where can you put this building? And you need to find a map of the city and decide where it will go. Is this going to be in the industrial sector? Is it a mall? Is it a strip mall? Is it going to go into the commercial sector? Or will it be what the municipality has determined as the residential district? Then, how much land will be covered by the building? Do you need a big factory, or do you need a smaller restaurant? Then you need to decide the distance from buildings to property lines, and this depends on zone. The zoning code will tell you how far you can go to the property line. Different cities that like more of an urban density might allow you to go to proper line, but a more open city might not allow you to go all the way and have you provide an easement. Your building could be as big as Hertz, and they have a lot of employees, so parking requirements are big. Parking takes up a huge land area, and it's expensive to stack and make a parking tower. There's also indications of what the building height and area will be, because these may or may not fit within the zone. And also special fire district requirements. This could be published by the fire department, and that has a lot to do with, is it easy for them to access should there be a fire, and how do you mitigate that? You must also now begin looking at building codes, and we found out last week that the primary goal is health and life safety. And in health and life safety, we have fire safety, emergency egress, construction quality, structural integrity has to hold up, durability, it has to last a long time or at least within its warranty, and livability, it must be pleasing to go into and to look at. Also, new things coming online are energy conservation, accessibility for physically handicapped, and sustainability. Here in Southwest Florida, a heavy concern with climate change, we're going to be paying more attention to the last set of codes. The code books that we use for the most part are contained within the IBC, the International Building Code, a set of codes decided upon by world constituents. Also, that covers construction. I, on the other hand, do more residential, so I consult the IRC, International Residential Code. They're both models that used in the United States. Here's the breakdown. The IBC governs 1 and 2 family homes, townhouses, and 3 stories of maximum height. That's for the residential code. So if you go beyond this, or if you have another building type, you must use the IBC. These are all buildings except those covered by the IRC. This also kind of lets you know, when you drive around town, you see this. They top out the new construction of residential units usually stops at 3 stories, and it's usually because of this. You must also know who is going to occupy your building. Are you just going to store stuff, so you'd be in S storage, or are you going to be making a business, something like something that sells mercantiles, or are you going to create a factory that makes things? So you would decide which is your occupancy group. Here's an example of Group A, and it concerns their activities. Group A includes theaters, auditoriums, lecture halls, nightclubs, and other places of public gathering. So special requirements for it depending on the type that you choose. Here's examples of institutional. Important here is hospitals. Occupants cannot readily exit a facility during an emergency. It could also be a jail. Protected areas within the building must be provided where occupants can wait for assistance. These are called areas of refuge. Define building constructed to a varying degrees resistant to fire. So IBC also tells you among what kind and then what type of building you will make. Type 1 is most resistant to fire, and Type 5 is least resistant to fire. This all depends on how heavily used is this building. Construction types also tell you what kind of materials might start to go into your building. So if you do have that high one, you have fully combustible, non-combustible materials for Type 1 and 2. The majority of buildings are Type 1 and 2. And this is how they break down for number of hours that allows you, that something can burn, and this allows you how much time you can get out of a building safely. There's also a dictation from IBC as to the allowable height and area of a building. Occupants with greater hazard make smaller buildings. So if I have something that's making munitions, it's going to be small. If I have something that's larger, an open factory floor, that might allow me to go larger.